at this, you all. She's chocker block full. My gosh. See, she's so happy. Hi everybody, I'm Michael. I'm here today with my gardening companion, who also just happens to be my favorite sister, Amy. And today we're super excited because we're gonna be showing you a way to air layer your croton, to propagate your croton. And Amy has these beautiful mammy crotons here, these red mammies that she's been growing for quite a while. And we wanna show you that process. We're gonna show you two processes. So, you ready to dig in?
Sure am, Mike.
Let's grow. We're going to start with the air layering method first.
And we're going to cut away so you can see all the items you need to get prepared.
Let's go on to that step. Here are the items you're going to need to do the air layering. You're going to need a bucket filled with some water. We went about a third way up here. You're going to need sphagnum moss, and the sphagnum moss we're going to put in the bucket and let it soak for about half an hour so that it will absorb the water. You're also going to need alcohol to wash down the box cutter or knife, whichever you're using to do the cutting on the croton. You're going to need some twist ties, garden wire, or zip strips to secure the sphagnum moss to the tree, to the croton. And you're also going to need Ziploc bags or cling wrap to put the sphagnum moss in, and we'll show you that in a minute. Or you can use a method our mom taught us when we were kids, using tin foil. You can just use tin foil to wrap the sphagnum moss around the croton. So what we're going to do now is just take some of the sphagnum and put it in the bucket and soak it for half an hour, and then we'll do the air layering. Now that the sphagnum has soaked for about a half an hour, it's going to look like this. But before we do anything else, we're going to want to spray down our cutting shears with alcohol in your hands, because you don't want to move any pathogens into the plant when you're doing the process. And we're going to need these cutting tools right now to do something for this Ziploc bag here. We're showing you three different ways of doing air layering. One of them we're going to use a Ziploc bag. The other one we're going to use cling wrap that we folded over on itself so it's a little bit thicker, and then regular tin foil. So you want to cut pieces like this size. This is about 12 inches by 12 inches. This is a little smaller. This is a sandwich bag, but you can also use a quart Ziploc bag. And all you're going to need to do, if we're going to start with the Ziploc first, is take your sphagnum moss, and it's going to feel real gushy, drippy. Squeeze a little bit out, fill it in the bag. You only need a handful. This should be a little bit more. That's all you're really going to need to do the process. And then with the Ziploc method, you just close the zip the Ziploc here. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut with the box cutter here. We're going to cut a line not all the way to the edge to open the side of this up. And we'll show you when we're doing the air layering how this goes and how this is applied to the croton. So you want to do a cut like that. On these others, you don't need to do that, but for the Ziploc method, you want to cut it like that. So for the cling wrap, let's get another handful. You want to set it like kind of like an oval, because we're going through, the stem is going to go through here. And you want to just a little handful like that, and the tin foil, the same thing. We'll get a little bit more. And you want it nice and moist. None of these are going to be totally watertight, but it's good to have them nice and moist so when we do the process. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go on and do the actual air layering of cutting into the croton, and then we're going to apply these to the crotons. So let's go on to that step. Here are Amy's beautiful crotons, and we're going to do three different branches here. You want to select a healthy branch, and the three that we're going to be doing the air layering is going to be this one over here. We're going to make a cut here. We're going to do one in the center of this three-branched one here, and this one back here. So to start, I'm going to start with the center one for you. And if you zoom in for me so you can see, you're going to want to take your box cutter or knife, and you're going to want to take, I'm going to cut these lower leaves off, petioles, just so I have a little maneuvering room. And again, remember to always wash down your cutting utensils and your hands with alcohol before you do these cuttings. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to cut about an inch or an inch and a half around the croton, but you don't want to cut all the way through. You just want to grab a woody section of your croton and you want to do a horizontal cut, and you want to cut through about 1/8 of an inch if it's a really big stem, or less if it's a smaller stem. So you want to kind of dig into it. You want to go down about an inch, inch and a half below that, and do another set of cuts, horizontal cuts. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to cut through this outer edge, the bark of the croton. And then what I like to do is do a horizontal, a vertical line from here down to the other cut. Again, about 1/8 of an inch in, or a little bit deeper if you have a big stem you want to work off of. And we'll show you that on the other ones. So after you do that, you're going to want to kind of peel this off. I'm going to slice through so you can see some. So what you want to do is, this is the cambium, this is the growing part. You want to go below this green to the white area. So you want to just keep pulling that up. See that? That's where we want to get to. But we're going to keep cutting through this. Sometimes it slides off, but other times you need to kind of work your way around with the cutting utensil to get deeper in there. There we have it. Now we're going to move over to a much larger stem over here and do the same process. Now we're going to start with the Ziploc one first. And what you want to do is you want to go with the cut that we did with the box cutter, and we want to center that on the area we cut, and you want that sphagnum to wrap all around it. But what we're going to do is we're going to bring some of it out to make sure it wraps in there, and then we're going to close the bag on itself. So you see what we're doing? We're wrapping it around it, and we're going to close the bag like this. And then we're going to use a twist tie. I'm going to do one just to hold it here in the center to keep it a little bit tight, but we're also going to add 2 more. So let's do the initial one. Now what we're going to do is we're going to grab another one for the top, and we're going to tighten it. These are the twist tie ones we're using. And you want to tighten it, but you don't want to strangle the croton. And what I like to do is I like to hold this edge flared a little bit, so when rainwater comes, it kind of brings down moisture into the sphagnum as it's doing the rooting. And then what you want to do is you want to have one in the center to keep it tight to the cut, and then another one at the base to kind of hold it all tight to the stem, so the sphagnum doesn't wiggle off the plant. There you go. Now we're going to go and do another method for this one here in the center. Now we're going to do the cling wrap method. So it's similar to the Ziploc, where you put the plastic in and around the croton, and you want to make sure you get the sphagnum all the way around the croton. So with the cling wrap, it's a little bit easier than the Ziploc, in the sense that you can kind of maneuver it a little bit better to get around the area that we cut. And then the cling wrap kind of tightens itself around it, but it's still too loose. You need this tighter to the stem. So what we're going to use on this one is the zip ties with the cling wrap. So, it's starting to get a little wiggly here, but I still want to keep a little opening up here to catch rain. And then what you'll do is grab a zip tie, and I'm going to start again like with the center to hold it in there. Now, the zip tie method is a good one because it can really hold it tight to the Croton stem, but it's not as flexible as the other two with the foil and the twist ties, because you have to break away the zip tie to see any progress as the plant is putting out new roots. So I'm going to go up to the top here, push through, zip tie again, get this one a little bit tighter. And I'll go back to the middle, tighten it up a little bit more. And then again at the base, wrap that plastic around. You want to make sure you have all that sphagnum caught up in the plastic there, so keep moisture on the plant. There we have it. So it's nice and tight around the cutting so the plant can send out new roots. And now we'll go with our favorite over here to our left. Hand over a little bit, thank you. To do the foil method that our mom taught us when we were kids, and we'll show you how that's done right now. And here's the last method that our mom taught us when we were kids. That's a classic. It's really easy with the tin foil. You just sort of bring the tin foil and your sphagnum up to the the area that you did the cutting, wrap all that sphagnum around it 360, and then just fold the tin foil on itself. And you break it over here. And what I need to do is get down below this, bring some foil up so we can wrap it around the plant. And the foil, because it's so tough, it just kind of holds it to the plant. We're still going to put zip ties on, or we're still going to put garden wire on it, but see how you can just kind of form this really well. Now the foil has a little more airflow because we're wrapped it here, and it's not like the plastic, but this worked for us when we were kids all the time. And then we learned more and more methods over time, like we just showed you on these other two. But to keep this in place in case it gets windy and plants branches rub up against it, you can add some more. And we're using garden wire for this one. Just kind of hold it in place so it doesn't wobble and fall off. And then we'll do another one in the middle. So we make sure. Dropped one. We want to keep it tight against the trunk. Let me get the third one. Dropped and lost. How's that? And here's the last twist tie. Again, I want to have it like a little funnel there so it catches rainwater and keeps moisture coming down through so the Croton can grow new roots. And here you have the three now. What you're going to need to do is wait upwards of 2 months sometimes. Here's the foil, here's the cling wrap, and there's the Ziploc method. All right, now's the time for the big reveal. You ready?
Oh yeah, I'm ready. Let's go, baby.
We're gonna go and remove the tinfoil one. This is the one our mothers taught us when we were very young, right?
Yes, she did.
And this is how we learned about it. This is how I just started to fall in love with plants. I was very young. And also, did I ever tell you the peanut plant story when she helped me plant the peanut and it grew into a peanut plant and pulled up peanuts, and I was like 3 or 4 and I was just fascinated by it. Ever since that, I was just hooked on plants. And this was such a cool thing that she taught us back in the day. Everyone used foil to air layer, but there's other methods, and we talked a little bit about them. But right now we're going to show you what it's like, how this one has transformed, how this mama plant has given birth to a new baby. And we're going to show you how the roots have developed off this air layering. How long has it been since we did that video?
It's about 2 months.
So about 60 days. That's a good range for what we have found. You can do a little bit sooner, but sometimes it doesn't take, or you get a few roots. But we're gonna go and see how this baby has cut out some new roots, and then we'll go through all the others, and then we're gonna go and show you how we pot them up. So, Amy, will you do the honors of undoing the foil? We're gonna zoom in now so you can see this up close. Oh wait, before we do that, thank you, cameraman Diego. We're gonna show you Amy's garden because it's April and they're really happy. She's got some of the most amazing gardenias.
Oh, it smells so pretty.
That is my favorite scent. I've said it a billion times on our garden videos. That plant is awesome to have, and when Amy was redoing our home years ago, we discussed let's put a gardenia near the front because she can catch these southeast breezes that come in and it'll bring that scent to you when you come home. It's such an amazing plant. Our little sister has it too in front of her home. Bonnie has a whole bunch of those, and we may be doing a video with her about that shortly. So please consider subscribing to our channel, right?
That's right. Make sure you hit the like button.
And over here to my right, your left, Amy has a Phalaenopsis orchid attached to her Vecchia, and it's flowering. It was budding a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh, is she gonna be ready for this video? And she came out so happy that she's doing that. So everybody's ready for this video. I'm sure you're ready for this video. You're like, Mike, let's get into the video. We're gonna get you back here now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring you up close, and we're gonna show you the unveiling of all these methods. And one thing you wanna remember when you're working with air layering crotons or doing the rooted hormone method, which we'll show you in a second, this plant has a sap. It's a milky sap and it can be an irritant, so it's good to have gloves if you can wear something, definitely hand gloves, but if you have sleeves.
And mine matches.
Yeah, Amy's got, these are from our friends at Farmers Defense. You've seen us in some other videos. These are great because you don't want to necessarily get that on your skin because it can be a little bit of an irritant, and we'll show you that sap. It comes off the croton when you cut it. So let's show you the first unveiling with Mom's foil method. All right, I'm excited, Amy, because this one's behind the foil and you can't really see. So one of the plus and minuses for this one is that you don't necessarily see the process, and you have to kind of look at this once every month or so. Oh, look at that! Oh, chocker block full. Wowee! Wow, look at that, y'all. Look at all those healthy roots. She is ready to go. Can you rotate around here a little bit? Wow, that looks so good. Woo woo! So
You should see this side.
So the foil method, tried and true. Your moms will never steer you wrong. The foil's great in the sense that you can just sort of crinkle it. You don't necessarily have to have the wires. We did the wires because we want the sphagnum to be as close to the trunk or the stem of the croton here. But the downside is that you have to sometimes open the foil to see after about 45 days to see if the roots have come out, and she's just ready to go. Oh, I'm so proud of her. And look, she's smiling. She's so happy, she's smiling. Hi, everybody. Now we're gonna jump over to the one in the back there. That is the method with the Ziploc bag where we cut down the center, and you can already see she's got some roots going through there, and a lot of new growth coming out right below where we did the air layering, and that's a normal part of the process. The plant will have new growth coming out here and it'll fill in no time at all. Yeah, we really tied this one. Thank you, Amy. And again, to try to make sure you keep a little funnel at the top of the plant, we found that that's a nice little garden hack that helps get the water to go down in there and keep the sphagnum moist. Oh, let me get this leaf out of your way. Let's see how this one has done. Okay. Ooh la la. Oh wow. Okay, hold on. She's got the plastic bag stuck. Well, let's show you over here. We're gonna come back. It's kind of hard to show. We're gonna come back and we're gonna keep this here like this for now. We need to cut the plastic. So let's leave this one right where it is, but you can see all those new roots. Wait, maybe I can do it this way. There we go. Okay, you see it? Woo woo! Ready to go, okay? Careful with that. We're gonna cut this because there's a piece down here that's caught and we don't want to pull those roots. So we got more roots on this one. And now we're gonna do the other one where we need to, I wonder if I could use the pruning shears. Thank you. All right, so here, Amy's gonna help and I'm gonna help. These are the ones we did with the zip ties. So I'm gonna cut, I don't know if you can get the camera to kind of see. I'm gonna cut that first zip tie, cut that second zip tie, cut the one at the bottom. And this is the one we did with the plastic saran wrap. Take the zip ties away. Let's see what we got. Ooh la la. Wow. Woo! Yes, sir. So there's roots all inside there. You don't want to go and start pulling all this sphagnum out. We're going to keep all that. You can see all this new growth everywhere. But for one thing, if you want to notice, if you look at them right now, if you look at this one, Mom's, the one that Mom taught us, she's got the most roots, right, Amy? Mm-hmm. She's definitely cut all the way through and out. And then over here, this one here has a bunch of roots, but I think the one, if I had to vote, if we were judging on the 3 different ways of air layering, I would go back to the foil. All these work very well. The zip ties work really well, but whoops, sorry, I hit the camera.
Think they should try all 3 methods.
Yeah, oh, of course, they all work.
So Mike, tell us what we need to do to get the soil ready for our new clippings.
Okay, so you're gonna need some
I'm
potting
all
mix.
set.
She's gonna drive me crazy this whole video. You need some potting soil. We like the Miracle Grow. You can get the moisture controller, just regular potting mix. You need some perlite. You need some worm castings. You need some charcoal, and we also like a mycorrhizal. So what we're going to do is we're going to take and do this in a ratio. You want to have a nice rich blend. We've already prepared one 3-gallon container for 2 Crotons. We're going to put 2 Crotons in this, and we're going to put 2 Crotons in this puppy. This is like a 2.5-gallon container. But we want to do the soil and this mix in this ratio. You want to have 6 parts of this mix of the potting mix. So we're going to start with 6 scoops. It doesn't have to be like super accurate, but as best as you can. Was that 3?
3,
4, 5,
and
6. Then we're going to switch over and we're going to add in 2. So that's 60% or 6 parts, 2 parts perlite. You tell me I can't really see well in here.
Okay,
That's
slow.
1. Oops, that's 1.
Okay, good.
2. 2 parts perlite. One of my favorite parts is the worm castings, which is, let me show you. It's super rich. It's just super rich. This is great for the soil. Yes, it's wonderful. 2 of those. This holds a little bit of moisture, so we want to have. Now, Crotons. Amy, do you know where Crotons are from?
I don't, Mike. Tell me about the Crotons. Where can we find them?
They're originated or their place of origin is Southeast Asia, but they're well adapted to grow down here in South Florida. And do you know about grow zones? I kind of told you before.
I see them on the packet of seeds.
Okay, right. So that's very important. This is a tropical plant, and so you want to grow these plants unless you grow them as a house plant. But we usually don't always grow them as house plants because they tend to get a lot of spider mites. But you can grow them down here in South Florida from 9B to 11, but it's better to grow in zones 10A, 10B, and higher.
Go and spray
these are
our
tropical plants, and they don't like to get they don't like cold. They just don't like the cold plant. I
And-
love the cold. They don't like the cold.
We're in South Florida and we're in 10B.
Correct. Where we live. Now you're going to mix this together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how this kind of looks, and I'm also going to show you two more things we're going to add. Ooh, that looks good. Now we've done that. We only got about halfway up, just under, and we still have more to go. We're going to add just a little bit, like a half shovel of charcoal. I'm going to do that twice. Charcoal's a great additive for the soil, and I love this stuff. This is we have the scooper in here. Woohoo! Now we got to get the other one. This is a mycorrhizal, and it has beneficial fungus and bacteria, which helps build build up and help the roots develop properly in the soil. So we're going to put a half teaspoon. Is that about half or is that less?
It's a little less.
Okay, so this is a quarter and stuff. Let me show you this up close so you get an idea what it looks like. And I'm going to save this for the other redo of this. And all you have to do is rinse and repeat. And go with 6 shovels of this, Amy. 6 parts. 1, 2, 3.
I hope you know I'm doing this left-handed. I am not left-handed.
5. It's not over. See how well it. Nice. 6.
Got 2 of these.
1, 2. So good. Yeah. Charcoal. The charcoal at the bottom of the container as well, because that helps keep the water, down in that area that tends to be in your drainage saucer from getting sour. And then we're going to add the mycorrhizal again here. You don't really need a lot. Yeah, that's good. Very good.
Excellent.
Look at that. Look at that. That looks so good. Yes. Oh, I'm so happy. Now, the fun part. Okay, so we've been playing with the dirt. Amy, I'd like to.
That's his favorite thing to play in the dirt.
It was fun. Remember when we went to Ireland?
Oh yeah.
And what did we do? We made mud pies.
Oh, of course. we made mud pies more than just Ireland when we went there.
Yeah,
we made them in our front yard. Do you remember Joe went and got ketchup?
No! Oh, that's great. My brother Joe, rest in peace. It's so much fun. Now, again, you don't want to bring pathogens in, since we're going to be cutting these branches. Even though they're going to be going in the soil, we don't necessarily want to encourage any pathogens to get into them. It's just a safeguard you want to be aware of. All right, so do you want to do the honors of cutting, or you want me to do it? You feel brave enough?
Sure, if you tell me, do I use the clippers?
Yes, we're going to do these clippers. We're going to spray them down again with alcohol. This is tight. Okay. And I'm going to, now what we're going to do is we're going to bring you in closer so you can see this, and we'll do this up close. Right, Amy's going to make the cut here right above this branch. So Amy, please do the honors. Put down there. Hold on. Can the camera see it? I'll hold the branch. Go. There you go. There we go. And success. Look at this, you all. She's chocker block full. My gosh. See, she's so happy. She's like, thank you. Oh, wow, wow, wow. Now what will happen is if you come over here with the camera again, sometimes in here, now you've already seen right here, this is a new bud. Amy's going to get new branching coming out of here, and on these others, some of them have already started to do that. The sap that we're talking about, you got to be careful. They'll sometimes develop here, but they also develop on these leaves. When you break them off, a white sap can come out, and that can be an irritant. So that's why we're wearing the gloves. We have one, so now we're going to move over and we're going to do the other ones. Down again, just to be careful. And Amy, if you can slide the pruners in there and go below this new branch that has grown. Let me pull this out of the way. Can you see that, everybody? There we go. And so this is a new branch that's come out, and Amy's going to cut that. I'm going to hold the top of the branch. Ooh, perfect timing. Look at that, y'all. Hello. Hello. And there's roots all inside. Roots all inside there. Wonderful. Wonderful. And if I pull this away, you can see Amy's already got a new branch coming out. And this is just going to fill in from where we made the cut. Now we also like to do this cut on an angle. If you can see, that's a good way to keep water sort of sliding off. There's a little bit of sap developing there. Now we're going to go and do the third one. Amy, this one's going to be a little tricky. We're going to go down here. Maybe I can try from my side, Amy, if that's okay. Okay, or you can go right in there.
Like that.
Brave, yeah. There you go. Ta-dum. Nice. Oh, look at all those roots. Hello. And we have flower. Croton's will flower. This is just finished. It has these really cool pom-poms. We'll show you an image of those up close. But if you come back in over here with the camera, you can see Amy's got already new branching coming out here. You have such a healthy Croton just taking off. So she's got new branching coming out there and leaves to fill in. So Mama has been very good to us, and we now have 3. Now that we have all the air layering Crotons ready, we're going to do one more. This will be the second method we mentioned in the beginning of our video, which is you take a cutting and you install the plant that's cutting in root hormone. Amy, can you show them that real quick? You can get these at your local big box retailers. We have several that we use, and we'll show you that process now because we're going to be planting them all together. So before we do that cutting, we're going to go again and spray this sucker with alcohol because better to be safe. And Amy, your choice.
I get to pick.
You get to pick. What branch do you want? You want to have at least a foot of.
This one.
It's at least a foot. Okay, we can go with that. At least a foot, up to like 15 inches is a good thing. And you want to have. You don't want to do a cutting way up here at the new growth. It's hard for the plant to try to root with that. So Amy picked a really good branch there. And we're going to go in here. Can you hold this branch, Amy? And can you bring the camera in closer so you can see where we're going? Thank you. And I'm going to make a cutting here on an angle like that. Boom. That's on a nice angle. We have a nice clean cut here. Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to start with this one, but what we'd like to do is you can come in close. We're going to do a lot of this up close now. You can see all of our wonderful Crotons here. We're going to start with this baby here, but we're going to trim off some of these lower branches because when you're doing a cutting with root hormone, these things can sometimes go through a little bit of stress as they're trying to get ready. So you'd like to cut off some of these branches here and have some of the sap coming out here. And before we put it in the root hormone, we like to cut. Could you hand me the box shears? Oh, we want to spray this too now. Box cutters. So I like to use box cutters, and what I like to do is this is the part that's we're gonna dip in root hormone. So you can bring the camera in close, you can see that. And what I like to do is sort of see that light green, Amy? Mm-hmm. This stuff here, this, and even getting down to that deeper woody part is where all those hormones are going to interact with the plant, and she'll start sending up new roots. So I like to get quite a bit of this, kind of like you're sharpening a wood stick. I like to keep some of that green in there too so she can root, but I like to have a nice amount. So, and what we're going to do is add rooting hormone to this. But another thing we're going to need to do is once we put this one in here, this kid, we're going to be putting 2 of these together. And this one's going to look funny for a little while. We're going to put her and her together in this pot, but we're going to put plastic over this little kid because we want to keep the moisture up for this plant. And then we'll talk about plant care in a minute. So what we want to do now is we have our potting mix ready. We have the cutting ready, and now we're going to put it in rooting hormone. So I'm going to stick it in there, Amy. Okay. Tip it for the camera, and then we're just going to wobble it around in there. Wobble, 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 wobble. All right, let's see how much we got on there. Ooh, that was pretty good. Now we're going to pour more on it just from above, Amy, where you can hit any of the green. Turn it. Yeah. Very good. And what I like to do, use your finger, create a little hole. Can you dump some of the rooting powder in there as well? I like to do this. Not everyone does that, but I like to add even more rooting powder in there because sometimes this stuff breaks off when you put it in the hole. And anywhere you can get that rooting hormone in there, that's great. So this is down a few inches, and we're just gonna, you help me backfill that, Amy? Boop, boop, boop. Ta-da. Ta-da. Now the pot, this is a little bit low. This soil could go up a little bit higher. when these start to root and they take off, we're going to up-pot this from a 2.5 to another container. This will be her home. I think I'm going to cut this one off. She's a big old man. And I mean, isn't this the coolest? You know, the corkscrew. So we do it as a kid back in the day. There's actually a yellow mammy. Do you remember I think we had Petras in our yard. Remember the giant red one we had in the backyard? The giant Croton Mom had? And there was a yellow one back.
I wasn't playing in the dirt as much as Mike was.
Well, we had two back when we were kids, and they were huge. They were
I remember the banana tree.
Yes, I know. But that's so cool. Look at this corkscrew. These are one of my favorite Crotons, and there's a lot of really cool Crotons. We just did a video where we went to Flamingo Road Nursery, and you can see that we had a lot of Crotons in there. And actually, Casaplanta, we did another video there, and they have a lot of really cool Crotons you can get your hands on if you'd like. So this one tipped a little bit, so let's get back to doing the potting, and we're going to come back to this one in a minute, because what we're going to do is, because we went with this method, and this method is not, again, I'm going to be honest with you all, this is not as a robust way. This way is more tried and true. You can see that they're developing these roots, and this is telling you that the plant has clearly rooted here. You're hoping that the root hormone will work with the plant and develop, but it does work. It does work. It just doesn't work in the same, I guess, probability of success. So it wasn't this one we wanted to go with. I think we wanted to go with this little one. Yeah, that's probably better because it's a smaller one. So now that we have this little guy, we're going to do the same thing. Let me get the little shovel here. Or you can use your big paws, but let your hand go back out if you could, Amy. I'll do this with just the shovel. Make a nice little divot. And you know what I was saying about not filling the soil too high? You want to do that because then when you put this in, you need to kick that soil out, which raises it higher in the pot. But let's see, still a little too much. We're going to go a little lower. The soil looks so good, you all. Your Crotons are gonna love this, Amy. That's little more, and voila. Now can you backfill that, Amy? Woo! So excited, it's gonna be so nice. I think what we should do is, can we add just a little bit of potting mix to the top of this? Just a little bit, a little handful, just to cover that sphagnum. Yeah. And maybe one more and a little bit of perlite. We don't need to have a full mix there. We just want to get just a little bit there, just to kind of just keep the sphagnum from being out. And a little bit of perlite just to allow this top layer not to get bunched up with, there we go, bunched up with water on it. There, it allows the water to drain through. So the potting mix, you want it to be a well-drained loam, and that's this mix that we just gave you. And we'll give you written care instructions right after this, so you can take a screenshot and have that for your we'll do it for both the propagation items and everything you need, as well as for all the other stuff for plant care. Now, well, we didn't really talk about plant care. Let's talk about plant care. We talked about soil, but for this plant, the Croton outside, in zones 10B
and
through 11, or even 9B, you can. You just got to be careful of the cold. They just don't like the cold. You can grow them in full sun, part sun. Amy's are on the north side of her home, and I just love this plant, and it's done so well over the years. My God, these have grown.
I've heard that some Crotons can take full sun, and some will want shade, depending on how they're brought up, raised. Is that true? Yeah, they all, I like them more like what you have. I don't like them usually in full sun, even though our parents had them growing in full sun. I like them when they get like part sun, or meaning like 4 to 6 hours of sun. They will do fine in full sun. It's just that you have to, sometimes I see them get a little, I don't know, stressed out when they would go through our droughts, you know. But these are drought tolerant plants. They're very tough, very well suited for growing down here. You don't have a lot of pest problems with them. So for lighting, 6 to 8 hours, so it can go from full sun to part sun to shade. Crotons they just won't grow a lot in shade, but they're really cool because they're known for these wonderful, colorful leaves. You know, this is the mammy or meme, which is another way of
calling out this plant has orange and red and green and yellow. It's just beautiful, and it's just like a painting. It's just like a painting. It's so pretty. So for watering, you want to do what you typically do if you have a normal irrigation system. You want, like, you know, an inch of rain a week, or inch of water per week. So if you have your automatic system, that's probably going to be giving you that. But these are drought tolerant, so they don't necessarily need to have too much water. You just want a well-drained loam. You want some of those organics. That's why we added the worm casting. So you want to have some of those amendments in your soil to help your croton flourish. But they're very tough. They're not very, you know, you don't have to give them all the best of best, because these are tough plants and they do very well. So with that, on fertilizer, you can use a well-balanced fertilizer, but these plants are known not for their flower, they're known for these colorful leaves. So if you have a higher nitrogen, the front number, they'll do a little bit better, but a well-balanced 20-20-20 is going to be fine. You can do Osmocote as a slow release or liquid if you choose, but outside it's best probably just to put down a good fertilizer that is a slow release over a period of months to help pop out that leaf color. So, ooh, look, we got some shade. It's going to help. Now that we've talked about that, on plant care, pest problems, you can have spider mites, mealybugs. It's usually not an issue. And I think I talked about everything. We have lighting, watering. If you're doing watering by hand, water them once a week outside. And if growing them in containers, about the same. If you have them on a patio and it's getting a lot of sun though, check these out, because containers, you know, we're going to put this one here in this ceramic, and that's going to block some of the heat. So you just have to monitor your plant and make sure that it's not drying out too much, especially as these guys are going through a little bit of transition now, big transition from this, because they're getting both nutrients from mama and then their own roots here. So with that, we're going to go and finish the process by putting this one in. So could you create a little hole there, Amy, for these two? And I'm going to trim some more of the leaves, because these leaves are probably going to fall off anyways. So I'm going to come around here. Yeah, I think that's really good. Can you see with the camera there okay? Little soil down in the bottom, a little bit higher. And now just backfill.
Okay, you ready?
Perfect. And we're back into the shade. Okay, now a little more alcohol. I'm going to trim off some. Switch sides. I'm going to trim off some of these branches, because she's gonna, like I said, go through a little bit of adjustment. So you want to take off some of these branches so she doesn't stress out too much while she's rooting in the new soil mix. I think I'll get this one, take out this one. Oh, these are so pretty. Yes, very good. Now we'll do the other hole. Yeah, okay. And if you do the honors and put this one in, the last of yours, let's see the height. So here's the thing you want to do. Yep, perfect height, Amy. Go a little bit down there. You want to put your new rooted plant at the same level where this sphagnum is reaching the top, and those roots, you want that to be the new level of your soil. You can go up about a ½ inch more and it won't be a problem, but you don't want to plunge too deep, because that can sometimes be a fungal issue. If this is a tough plant, it won't be really an issue, we think, but it should be okay. If you move this hand out of the way so the camera can see a little better, and we'll just backfill around so you can see that okay. There you go. Thank you, Amy. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for you. This looks so freaking good. Now we're gonna pick this up and put this puppy in there. Oh my goodness gracious. Let's turn that so she's smiling at you. Wow. Ooh la la. Now we're still not done.
I have another pot. You want me to go get it?
Oh, you haven't? Oh, that's right. We brought one over the other day. Well, we'll cut away for that in a second.
Okay.
What we want to do now, we're not done. We still have to add some water. And we also, what we're going to do is we're going to cut away and come back in a second. We got to get the plastic bag that we want to put over this one, the second method of propagation. And we want to create a little mini greenhouse for this one. So we're gonna take a plastic bag, put it over her and sort of tuck it in here. And when we water the plant, moisture is gonna come up in there and it's gonna raise the moisture level. One thing I didn't mention, glad I said this, temperature and humidity. Plants are gonna do great down here in South Florida. You can be scorching hot up into the 90s or down to the 50s, it's okay. But they do like higher humidity, and so in South Florida, as you can see, because of the sweating, that we like the plants like this, like 50 to 60% humidity, which is perfect for South Florida, especially in the summertime. And these things are just the cat's meow. I just love the Croton, is what I grew up with. But it's the red meme. So we're gonna go get that, we'll cut away and we'll come right back. We've got another ceramic pot, and now we're gonna place our new Croton kids in this container, and we're gonna water. So we're gonna come in close. You can see, let's water with this one first, please. And hopefully you can see okay. We're gonna water this well. What I like to do is just do a count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now hold. We're gonna come over to this one. We're gonna scoot over to this one. The one on this side here, the camera, this is the one with the rooting hormone, and the one on the left is the air layer. And what I've done is I'm going to actually trim. I'm going to spray this again with alcohol. If you can keep the camera down there, I'm going to trim these lower ones because we're going to be putting plastic on her, and we want to make sure that we don't make this too congested. So now we've done the first wave of watering. We're going to come back to this one, water again, and then you want to just sort of, there you go, go all the way around. You don't have to go to 10, let's go to 5. Count of 5 is pretty good. A little bit on the corner, yeah. Oh, you need to get some more water. We'll get back in a sec. If you look over here, I'm gonna tamp this down. And that's what you wanna do, is make sure you get rid of air pockets. And these kids are ready to go. So now we have. Now you can, if you'd like, if you want, you can let this grow a little bit longer, and you can actually separate this pot in about a year's time. And you could have 2 plants you could put in your yard, or you could plant this together and have 2 this come out as a double in your yard. But this is just great, looking so nice. Okay, over here I'm gonna start prepping a little bit while Amy gets some more water. I'm gonna tamp these guys down a little bit more here, and here she comes. A little bit more water. Thank you, Amy. And if you can go back here against this edge. Yeah, right there, thank you, that's good. So you want to water well, let this through, because you want this to go all the way through that new rich medium so it's nice and moist. And now for another fun part is this plastic bag. We've had this reused, it's best to recycle. And what we're gonna do is Amy's gonna hold the leaves up a little bit, and I'm gonna hold a Ziploc bag up and over and down into this one to create a mini greenhouse. Look at that. Look at that, folks. Super easy peasy. You can do this with any other bag. What you do is you just normally water this container. Any water in there on this side is just it's gonna permeate up, and this will look nice. It'll look very foggy. Yeah. It'll look very foggy. I don't recommend keeping this plant out in full sun. Any of these initially. We want to put these in probably mostly shade for a while it won't be a problem for them. Because if you put them in full sun, this can actually sometimes scorch the plant. It can be a problem because it gets so hot in here. Did you see we got a butterfly? It almost bonked into you. That was so cool. And so in probably about a day's time, this will get all foggy. That's totally normal. Some people like to, you can use a twist tie at the base. I don't usually do that a lot because I like to have airflow going in there, and you just want to build up the humidity of it so that the plant will do well. And that is that. I think you were amazing. Just saying.
What can I say?
You can give me a compliment if you like.
Good job, Mike.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. So what we're going to do now is we're going to rotate over into written care instructions where we summarize all this stuff, and then we'll come back and do a quick closing at the end. So let's go on to that step.
there's Stephanie. Come on in, Steph. Yay!
Okay.
Okay, so I know Mike is the expert, and he knows all about this planting and crotons and everything. I am not, and I'm sure many of our viewers are like me. And if you have questions and don't remember everything, make sure you put your questions in the comments below, and Mike will be able to get back to you.
Right.
So, and on top of that, don't forget to subscribe and like, particularly the videos I'm in, because I want the most.
And what do you have to say,
and Steph,
Stephanie?
what do you
have
think?
to say?
Please like and subscribe.
Okay.
Yeah.
And thank you so much. And until the next video, bye.
Bye.
Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And tell your friends and family. We post videos weekly. Thanks.
So Mike,
Yes.
tell me, what do we do to get the potting mix just right for our new cuttings?
Okay, so what we have found that
I'm
works.
all set.
Yes, she is. And she's driving me crazy. So all you have to do is get a few of these potting mixes and addenda. Talk like you normally talk to me, not like you're talking to a child you're scolding. So Mike,
He's such a pain. So Mike,
yes.
tell us.
That's a good outtake.
I like that. Oh, okay.
Well, but fun over the weekend.